Okay, I really want to help you out at the end of the quarter, so not only did I post it, then I decided to make a little video of it. And at first I was just going to post the formulas. Midpoint, distance, slope, circle stuff, and then how to complete the square and make it into a circle equation in standard form. And on the back, remember, we had partitioning a directed line segment. So it's all got to come back to us for the test, so this is like a quiz and a review and hopefully a perfect grade. So midpoint. You add up the x's, divide by 2, you add up the y's, divide by 2. So you add these up and divide by 2, and you add these up and divide by 2. That's all there is to it. So -4 plus 8, and then 7 plus -9, and that is your point. So -4 plus 8 is 4, divided by 2 is 2. And for the y coordinate, 7 plus -9 is -2, divided by 2 is -1. I don't want to just write the answer, because I want to make sure you're listening to the video. Number 2, there's your distance formula, or you could use graph paper and find it that way with Pythagorean theorem. But we plug in our second x, which is 10, and our first x, which is 4. So the difference in x's is 6. And then my second y minus my first y, leave at opposite. The difference in y's is 2. So we have 10 minus 4 is 6 squared. 0 plus 2 is 2 squared. Add 6 and 2, and you get 8 under the radical, and then break down radical 8 and get your final answer of radical 4 and radical 2, which is 2 radical 2. On number 3, it's looking for slope. So it's y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. That's my first x, that's my first y. That's my second x, that's my second y. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Leave, add, opposite. Leave, add, opposite. 2 plus 5 is 7. -7 plus 2 is -5. And then tell me what your final slope is. Reduce any fraction if possible. Number 4, state the center and radius of a circle. So remember, x minus h all squared plus y minus k all squared equals r squared. And hk is the center, so hk is the center. So it's really the opposite of what you see. If it says -5 here, it's really 5. So 5. And if it says +7 here, it's really -7. The radius, this is the radius squared, so the square root of that number is the radius, which you put there. Then, if they give it to you in general form, you have to remember how to complete the square. So this problem here, the x's were not together. You had an x here and an x here, but I put them together here. You had a y here and a y here, but I put them together here. Then I left some space after each one. Half of 8 is 4. Square that 4 and you get 16. Whatever you add to one side, you have to add to the other. Half of 4 is 2. Square that and add 4. Whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other. So we can take care of this right now. 16 and 4 is 20, plus 5 is 25. Over here, we have the square root of that sign, and the square root of that. The square root of that sign, and the square root of that. The square root of x squared is x. We use that sign. The square root of 16 is 4. Square root of y squared is y. We use that sign. And the square root of 4. There's my equation right there. I'm just going to copy it over. Same thing. And that's all it wants. Oh, actually, no, it doesn't. It wants the center, which is the opposite and the opposite. And the square root of 25, the radius is 5. Number 6, going back a little bit further in time, is partitioning a directed line segment. So I plotted A and B, which were -7, -3, and 3, 2. Then I made it into a little triangle. And I noticed that the x distance was 10 and the y distance was 5. The other thing I have to do is turn the ratio 2 to 3 into the first number over the total. So 2 to 3 is really 2/5. Then I come down here and I take that 2/5 and I multiply it by the x and then I multiply it by the y. So 2/5 times 10 is 20 over 5, which is 4. 4. 2/5 times 5 is 10 over 5, which is 2. So I have 4, 2. Then you add back the first point, which was -7, -3, -7, -3. And your final answer is after adding or subtracting right there. So free 100 tomorrow if you can just do these problems over again. The exact same quiz will be handed out.